What's up, gamers? Dreamcastguy here, talking today about the Grand Theft Auto Remastered Trilogy, but specifically about some of the anger that's beginning to boil up. There are some people that are downright pissed about these games right now, and I want to try and just break down the couple problems that definitely exist. But let's begin at the start as to what specifically is the GTA Remastered Trilogy. Currently, it's being called the Definitive Edition, and basically it's a remake of this classic pack. It's going to be GTA 3, GTA Vice City, and Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. And I think a lot of people have been very excited about this ever since it was initially rumored, because as much as, we love GTA Online, it is fun to just drive around in that city and stuff. I think a lot of us are kind of missing the PlayStation 2 era of gaming. There's certainly a bit of nostalgia for just the neon streets of Vice City and seeing the classic chaos that would go down in the streets of San Andreas, and a lot of us kind of just want to go back to that. So I've personally been excited for the Grand Theft Auto Remastered Trilogy, but we still don't know a bunch about it, despite the fact that Rockstar themselves, the developers, have mentioned that they exist, despite the fact that we have some sort of vague release date that is probably coming out in the next 30 days. They've yet to show us any actual gameplay, which definitely makes me a bit concerned that these are going to be some pretty very minor upgrades. Maybe a little bit better controls, maybe a little bit better polish, but here is where the problems arise. First and foremost, there is this. With the Remastered Trilogy, the original games no longer exist. They've actually been delisted from the PlayStation Store and from Steam. So this was actually done yesterday. A bunch of y'all have sent me this, and it seems like a lot of people are actually outraged. You cannot purchase the classic versions of these games anymore. Only the Remastered Trilogy is going to exist. There is no other version that is now accessible. Unless you somehow buy the actual physical discs, there's no way to play these classic games if you haven't already. Now, to me, this does definitely suck. Now, I know what you're going to say. Somebody in the comment section is going to go, well, these are definitively the better versions of the games. In fact, this is actually called the Definitive Edition to the GTA Trilogy. Here's my issue. I love having every version of a game out there. Like, this is just a personal thing of mine. I love freaking Resident Evil. And specifically, I definitely love the Resident Evil 2 remake. That game completely blew my mind. But it does personally very much annoy me that the classic versions of the original Resident Evils are not on modern systems. If you're somebody like me that very much loves the classic Resident Evil games 1, 2, and 3, they're just gone. They don't exist. You have to play them on old systems or emulate them and stuff like that. And to me, it's annoying that there is only one version of a new game. It's weird to me that as somebody that owns the GTA Trilogy, the original ones, I have a version of the game that you cannot obtain. That is very strange. But here's definitely the other issue that I've seen a lot of people not happy about. So the price has seemingly been leaked. This is a European website translating these prices into American currency. What you basically got to know is that if you're buying this on Nintendo Switch, the game is going to be $60. If you're buying it on last gen systems, so the Xbox, it's going to be $60. But if you buy it on the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X, the Definitive Edition is going to cost you $70. $70 for these classic games. Now, part of the reason that people are so annoyed about this is that originally, when you bought these games on the PlayStation 4 using the backwards compatibility eShop thing they had, originally each of the games was $10, which means that you're going from $30 for the entire trilogy playable on your PlayStation 5 all the way up to $70 to play what is essentially the same games, but with a fresh coat of paint. Now, here's the complicated issue of this, is that as it currently stands, I'm not happy about this. Like, the fact that this is a 200% markup, that seems kind of crappy. But the part that makes this a bit more fuzzy is the fact that we obviously do not have any graphics, no screenshots, we don't have anything yet that proves that this is worth the value. Like, I feel like these leaked price tags, as bad as they look, we still don't have the total picture as to what this is going to be. Like, my biggest hope is that this is something that's going to do something that overhauls the classic GTA experience. Like, I love Grand Theft Auto a lot, but those old games, as somebody that's played them literally this morning, I decided to install them all again and play them a bunch. The controls and the aiming at times are very archaic. The fact that you're using the X button and the square button to drive instead of triggers, the fact that the lock-on system is still just so weird, like, it makes me just want a more modernized experience of these classic games. While I'm running around these cities, give me a better way to interact with these very fun and very funny worlds. If this is not a very, very drastic upgrade, I can see the anger and the backlash being extremely severe. Now, part of this just comes down to the fact that I think that a lot of companies now are trying to find a way to do like a finalized remake. Like the fact that we've suddenly seen Demon Souls come back and it's completely redone and it's absolutely gorgeous. The fact that we're seeing Final Fantasy get the pixel remasters, which are complete remakes dot for dot of the classic Final Fantasies. It feels like a lot of these dev studios realize that going into the future, they need to have a perfect version of their classic games, that way they can walk away from it once and for all. And I think that's what this is. I think that this is their way of basically giving us a final chance to look and enjoy the classic PlayStation 2 era. And I hope they do that with style. I hope the GTA Trilogy Definitive Edition is worth that $70 price tag. Because if it's not, it's going to be very tempting to buy the PlayStation 4 version and play it on my PlayStation 5 to avoid that $10 markup for what may just be adaptive triggers. I don't know. This whole mess is just so complicated because I wish that things were more cut and dry. Like, I feel like I'm kind of getting annoyed when these companies come out and just announce with a teaser trailer that something exists, but then don't say anything else. Like, I'm kind of at a point where just showing me a logo for a product and saying that it's about to come out, that is not enough. Give us the goods. Give us the gameplay. Give us the reason to be excited for GTA despite what's probably going to be a very severe price tag. But what do you guys think? Are you excited for these games? Are you going to support their existence? This is actually the question of the day, is just the fact that I know a lot of people, myself included, are very tired of Grand Theft Auto 5. This may be sort of our way to vote with our wallet, to show the fact that we do want more classic adventures in different cities, something that isn't just GTA Online. Well, tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do it the biggest favor of all, and keep dreaming. I do want to thank you guys. Actually, we just got back from doing the big event, Too Many Games, up in Philadelphia. I mean, literally hundreds of y'all came up to me and talked to me up in Philadelphia, took selfies and stuff. It was such a crazy, overblown experience. It was just so mind-blowing. I love you guys a bunch. Thanks to everybody for all the support and, you know, the likes and, you know, everything. I owe you guys everything. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, you know, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.